David loves naked women.
And speaking of that...
David's sexuality is in full display in one cut in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 30 of Why Would You Show Me This? I am Will.
And I'm Danny.
And welcome back to our Lynch Marathon. It's not over.
It's not over.
We lied. It's not over.
Well, we didn't lie. I made a decision to watch the film instead.
Yes. It still is a lie if you look at it that way.
But I'm not. I changed my mind.
Danny, so we were not going to do Mulholland Drive at first because Danny had seen it before.
Yeah.
But then I had brought it up because I know some people out there asked us to do all of Lynch's films.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be a bit much for Danny. But
I've seen all the other ones recently.
Yeah, we watched Elephant Man recently. We watched what else did we watch recently? Fire Walk with Me. We've seen in the past few years. I don't think we watched Eraserhead together.
No, we haven't watched it.
I would like to watch that with you.
Oh, Jesus.
But we're ending it. We're ending it here.
Okay.
Eraserhead. Everybody knows Eraserhead's great. We don't need to review it. Could say the same about Mulholland Drive, but so we weren't going to do Mulholland Drive. I had brought it up because some people had asked about it. Danny said no originally, but then she thought about it and
I thought about it and I didn't remember very much of it, truthfully. And upon watching it, I think I remembered even less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I remembered, I think, a scene from this. I remembered stuff as I watched it, but I felt maybe it wasn't fair because, I mean, I can't really remember when exactly I watched this movie the first time, but it was a while ago. It was at least
5
6 years ago. Yeah. So I didn't remember it very well. So I was like, you know what? Let's do the 30th episode and cap the Lynch Marathon at the 30th episode.
I think it's a good way to spend our 30th episode, truthfully.
I do too.
I'm very happy that you decided this because with this viewing of Mulholland Drive, which I think might be my 4th, since I was I think I first saw it when I was 13 or 14. I rented it from Netflix when they still had DVDs in the mail, and didn't know at all what the hell was going on. My teenage brain didn't understand it.
No.
But my 32-year-old brain now has a very firm grasp of the story, I think, for myself.
That's good.
Yeah. So let's start off with what scenes really stuck out to you with what your second viewing of the film now, a few years later.
Actually, I think we should read the synopsis.
Oh, we should! I forgot about the synopsis. No, we're going non-linear, like Lynch this episode. So, from the back of the Criterion Blu-ray, blonde Betty Elms, Naomi Watts, has only just arrived in Hollywood to become a movie star when she meets an enigmatic brunette with amnesia, Laura Herring. I can't speak. Meanwhile, as the two set off to solve the second woman's identity, filmmaker Adam Kesher, Justin Theroux, runs into ominous trouble while casting his latest project. David Lynch's seductive and scary vision of Los Angeles' dream factory is one of the true masterpieces of the new millennium. A tale of love, jealousy, and revenge like no other. Yeah. It's a good sum up of everything without really giving a lot away.
I think you saying, reading the synopsis just made something click in the movie for me.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay, alright.
So that's kind of weird.
Because of the way that they worded it?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. So, do you want to talk about what clicked for you? Or do you want to start off with the...
Well, what clicked for me is kind of the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
When we, and I'm talking, I'm assuming most of you watching this have seen Mulholland Drive. At least
watch Mulholland Drive before we get into this because we're going to dive really deep into the film and we're going to give away things. So
and also, if you're this far into the Lynch Marathon and you haven't seen this one, I'm a little worried.
Also, I think if you listen to us talk about it and then watch the movie, it'd still be okay. Yeah. Truthfully, I mean, it's I don't think this is a movie that is spoilers.
But we are gonna, like Lynch, we're gonna jump around.
We
a
will
lot.
jump around.
So the thing.
Also, like House of Pain.
Yes. The thing that clicks for me, and I just want to say it because I'm afraid I'm gonna forget.
Okay.
Is obviously we have the brunette who has amnesia, but we come in on her in a car. We don't know who she is.
The car accident.
The car accident, and she says, "Why did we stop here? We don't stop here."
Yes.
And
and
he points the gun at her.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then all of that stuff happens. That's the hit that she put on her.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So that the beginning makes sense.
Yeah.
By the end.
Also, what you just said clicked something for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll get back to that, around to that, because I don't want to get to that just yet, because it goes into my theory of the film. But the "we don't stop here" thing, that sentence means a lot now that you've said it back.
Okay.
To me. What are the things that you enjoyed this time around?
I really like I like the fixed Hollywood storyline a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I really like
everything with Justin Theroux.
Yeah, I like that they're like, "You're gonna pick this girl," and he's like, "No, I'm fucking not." You know what I mean? He asserts, that he's not, all of that stuff, and not to give too much away. By the end of that, that's a little different.
Yeah.
But they are forcing this one actress.
Yes,
on him.
Camilla Rhodes.
Yes, and I think we talked about how we both feel that that's Lynch kind of demonstrating how in Hollywood you only have so much control, even though it's your movie.
Yeah, I do think that Adam is kind of a stand-in for Lynch.
Yeah.
For how Lynch has felt about Hollywood making movies in that system, for sure.
And him rebelling against that, but that leads into one of my favorite scenes, which is when they tell him that he needs to meet with the cowboy because everything is getting fucked with. The set has been shut down. He doesn't have any money anymore. They've cut him off and all that stuff. So he has no...
They've ruined his life.
Yeah, he has no choice but to do what they're asking.
Yeah.
So he does. And it's a very weird, surreal scene of just the two of them standing in what is best described as a corral.
Yeah.
Where you have horses. And him talking to him basically about his attitude and stuff, which I kind of liked.
You gotta get your attitude in line with what we are doing, or else, basically.
Well, I mean, the really ominous thing is that he says to him, "If you see me a second time,
if you see me one time,
if you see me one more time, then you've done everything right.
Yes, but if you see me
two more times, that means that you haven't." So that's very ominous.
Yes, and we will get to how many times we see the cowboy in the film.
We will. I love that storyline. It's funny because here's the truth. It threw me for a loop a little bit because as they're pushing Camilla on him, and at one point he does see Betty, who's played by Naomi Watts.
Yes, he does.
I was thinking, oh my god, he's gonna go against their pick and pick her because the look that he gives her, he seems very enamored.
He is very enamored, yes.
And so I thought he was gonna totally just be like, "Nope, I'm picking her. This is what I'm doing," and I thought that was gonna be a whole thing, and that didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
So that was also kind of like, whoa,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never think that you can expect anything in a David Lynch film.
No.
I mean, you can figure some things. There were some things that I did figure out. But...
Yeah, it's funny watching this again. It's funny how Lynch's films, you watch them maybe for the first time and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But you watch them a few more times and a very linear narrative forms once you've seen it a few times. Which is, I love that because, it's interesting. Every time I watch this movie, I've had a different feeling at the end of it, a different view of it, whether it be from adolescence to adulthood, how I felt about the film. So it's very interesting. I'm glad that we've done this marathon because a few of the movies I've felt differently about than the last time I've seen them, and I think that's a really awesome, thing that a good piece of art can do with age, with time. you see it in a different light.
Yeah, for sure.
And I really love that about viewing it today,
Mhm.
and what I've come out with it. What I've come out at the end with, what I've come. Yes, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So was that the scene? I think there was another scene stuck out to me, and I can't really remember what it was now.
I know that.
Oh,
Okay.
No, I know what it is. I'm sorry. There's and this doesn't really give too much away either. Betty, Naomi Watts.
We're talking about Betty, like bright and cheery Betty.
I'm talking.
We're talking about Diane.
I'm talking about Diane.
You're talking about Diane. Okay, so we're getting to after the halfway point of the film.
Yeah. But what I was impressed by didn't really have too much to do with the scene. I mean, it did, but it didn't. It's just her facial expressions.
Yes.
While she's... I almost think she's hallucinating in that moment.
Yeah, no, I
don't
think so
she's,
as well.
I don't think she's really there.
I do believe that.
Because she's seeing the brunette, she's seeing... well, Rita is what she calls herself.
She's Camilla at this point.
She is Camilla then.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So there's a lot of switchy shit.
Yeah.
Just like in Inland Empire, the two dual characters for one actor.
Yes.
It's that same way in this portion of the film. So with Camilla, when she's hallucinating, which we think she is, you can have your own interpretation of that.
Whatever you want.
But speaking of that, I think that this film really shows off Naomi Watts' range in acting.
It does very much.
She's basically playing two parts,
Mm-hmm.
like very stark, different versions of the same person, almost.
Yeah. Well, it's what I like to see. What I would like to describe as like her being, what I described in the beginning as bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, just enamored with Hollywood and everything about it, and very naive, right?
Yes, very naive.
And then I would say that Diane is the, after a time, is the same person,
Yes.
different name, but it's the same person, but is after experiencing everything that Hollywood has to offer.
It's the battered actress.
Yes, very much so.
Once she's been in Hollywood for a while, and
Which shows a lot of awareness on David's part, I feel like, to write a part like that.
yes, and it's so funny because when you hear Naomi talk about where she was when she got this role, she basically was Diane.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'd been auditioning for like a decade, and really nothing. Never really broke out until David gave her the chance and treated her. She talks about it. We watched an interview on the Blu-ray. She talks about how she felt, when she met with David, she felt like a human being.
Yes.
Instead of how she felt during the auditioning process in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of that was there before they started the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once he talked to her, he integrated a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know. He's not going to talk about that. But I do feel that maybe that there gave some more structure to the film for him.
I have to also say, and I pointed this out to Will, while they're talking, and it's just Naomi and David sitting next to each other, when Naomi is speaking, David is looking at her like he loves everything that she's saying.
Yes.
And it's actually kind of sweet to see a director engaged with his actors and actresses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So much so that he gives them nicknames.
Yes.
What is Naomi's?
Shit, wait, this is the last episode.
I know, I'm sorry.
Oh,
We can't ever remember
no.
Naomi's.
Naomi Watts is David's nickname for her is Buttercup.
Buttercup, yeah. Which I love that he has nicknames for them. I mean,
Yes.
and they're not. I mean, she's not the only one that he has nicknames for.
No, and we've talked. I think David falls in love with his actresses.
He does, and not in the
creepy way.
Not in the weird way.
No, though all the ones that he has nicknames for, they have been naked in his films.
Yeah,
but that's just because David loves women. David loves naked women.
And speaking of that,
David's sexuality is in full display in one cut in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Betty and Rita fall in love. They are having sex.
Although I think at that point they actually are Diane and Camilla.
No, this is before.
Are you sure?
Oh no! You're right.
Diane,
No, I'm sorry. Danny's right. They are Diane and Camilla. This is a past thing when they are having sex on Diane's couch.
I mean, they're kind of fooling around.
They're fooling around.
They're not really having
They're topless.
Because she says to her, because Camilla says to Diane, I don't think we should do this anymore.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Stark cut
Yeah.
to a scene where machines whirring. There's
And
just
it's a
machinery
factory.
sounds. I mean, it's a set, but we get those sounds.
Yes.
And that is David.
That's David.
Tits and machines.
Yep. He loves... I mean, I think there's even a quote where he says that he loves naked women and factories.
Yes, he said that in an interview.
Yes, he did.
But we just thought we laughed
we laughed
very hard because it just shows David's love, his loves.
Well, I mean, and if you like us, if you've been watching all of these films in
Yes.
succession,
Yes.
you're gonna notice
You
all of the
understand.
stuff that is David.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
mean, I feel I have a pretty good understanding of stuff that he puts in his movies, and maybe stuff he's trying to portray, but I still feel like I'm missing something.
We talked a bit about this during the film.
Mhm.
At a certain point, at about halfway, I think it lost you a bit.
A little.
A little bit. I think it gained you back by the end of it. But when Betty and Rita are getting to the end of their portion of the story, that's kind of where you were like, eh.
Yeah, a little. Although I will say that when they opened the purse, I joked and
Yeah.
said, "There's a bunch of money in it,"
Yeah.
and then there was, and I was just like,
Maybe you
"Oh,
subconsciously remembered that.
maybe." I mean, there could only be so many things.
Yeah.
It's either a severed ear or it's money.
He did the 7 year already.
But
So-
by the way, I just have to say I really like the design of the box and the key.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's not a normal thing. It's the thing about it is that the box and the key, they're both blue, heavy
Symbolism.
color symbolism in this film.
Yeah.
There's the blue and the red, which is heavy in this. There's the brightness, there's the darkness, as always. But I think the box is very pristine. The box looks almost like a perfume, something perfume would come in.
Kind of. Yeah.
And then once we get into the latter half of the film with Diane, it's just a
You
regular
mean-
blue key.
You mean once we get into the box?
Once
Because
we're in the box,
what
yes.
was so funny, and
From the outside, it's pristine.
because I know David Lynch.
Yeah.
As soon as they showed, because I mean we're jumping around again, but
Yes.
it is oh my gosh, not Diane and Camilla, but
Betty and Rita.
Betty and Rita, find the box, have the key, and then all of a sudden Betty's gone,
Betty is gone.
and then Rita opens the box.
Yes.
And I love the fact that as soon as she opens the box and you see it's just dark inside, like you don't see what's inside it at all, I'm like, we're just gonna go into
Yeah.
the box, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
exactly what happens. The shot
Yes.
just goes right into the darkness because that's another Davidism. Is that he does that quite a bit in his films, where there's
Delve
darkness,
into darkness.
and he just dives
Yes.
into that, which is
Yeah.
what we're doing in that moment, because then we go to Diane
Yes.
and Camilla, and that is a very
dark-
dark storyline
Yes.
that is going on.
The more you watch David, the easier he is to understand.
I guess that's true. Like I was getting frustrated because I felt like I didn't understand things. And I was also getting frustrated because David does have a tendency to have plot lines that I'm very heavily invested in. But then he's like, yeah, but look at this over here. And I'm like, no!
So
Please focus on the plot. But, like Will tells me, a lot of what he wants you to look at does have to do with the
Yes.
plot. Just maybe not in the way that you think it might. And so it's just a lot of... it's just a lot to figure out. I mean, here's the thing. I think maybe people don't like these movies, and I'm not saying I'm one of them. I do like them, but I think some people at large don't like these movies because it makes them think about the movie. Like you have to figure shit out.
yeah, it's not all laid out for you.
As opposed to movies, most of the time where it is pretty much laid out for you. And you understand what's going on. And David doesn't really allow for that very much. And I think, like with a lot of other things in people's lives that cause them to think they don't like that, because it makes them think about things they don't like. And Dave is very good at making you think about things that you don't like or you don't want to look at.
Make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's good at making you uncomfortable, and I
Yeah.
kind of appreciate that about him. But he also shows people being human and displaying very humanistic things, which is so funny because that's actually a word that is used in it. Remember when Betty is auditioning for the role,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so funny because I noticed as she's auditioning, the director seems completely checked out. Like, he doesn't seem like he's actually invested in casting her, and my theory is, I told Will, is he isn't. It's not his choice. He might be like Adam Kesher, where they've already told him that this is the girl, you know what I mean? And so maybe he's been through the process so many times
Yeah.
that he knows that this part doesn't involve him, and therefore he's just going through the motions, because it really does seem like that. But everybody else seems completely enamored with Betty, except
Yes.
for the director. He seems
Except for
like
the
he doesn't
director.
care.
I think one thing that we should say, I don't think we even noticed it,
Sorry.
said it. Betty she's come from Canada to become an actress
Yes.
in Los Angeles. Rita, before she loses all of her sense of herself and who she is a actress. She's a well-known actress. Just figured we should put that out there.
Yeah, sorry.
Before, when we talk about Betty going on auditions and stuff.
The funny thing that I noticed is that before Betty auditions for this role, she's rehearsing it first with Rita.
Rita,
They're
yes.
reading it together and stuff like that, and she's delivering it very differently than she ends up delivering it in the audition, which I find very interesting.
Yes, and I think that really plays into everything that I think about the film.
Well, and you talk about that.
Okay. Well, let's just, before I get into my theory of the film that has been established, so when she's doing it with Rita, it's very angry and she's upset.
Yeah, she is.
In the audition,
Mhm.
she is not playing that up. She's being very sexual
She's being very
with
sexual.
the actor.
Yes.
And I think that is kind of her being seduced by Hollywood and her being like, I know what I need to do to get this role.
Yes.
More than I want to play it exactly how I feel the character should play it. And so with that, I will get into my theory.
Go for it.
So my entire theory about the film rests on Camilla Rhodes. The name Camilla Rhodes, not the person, because I don't believe that Camilla Rhodes is a person.
Okay.
I believe that Camilla Rhodes is a stand-in proxy for stardom, fame. Betty is she's coming to Hollywood for that. She wants the stardom. She wants the fame.
Mhm.
Rita, we'll get into why she's named Rita, is that. She is the fame. She is the stardom. But she has lost that at this point. And that this is going back to the we're not supposed to stop here part. The fame, it's not supposed to stop ever. You don't ever want it to stop ever, but it stops. And that's her fall at that point. So Betty is she's going to the audition. She does what she thinks she needs to do to get the role. They take her to audition for Adam. Adam is a director who is very firm on the way he wants to make a movie in the beginning. He goes against all of the executives. And then once he realizes that he can be his life can be ruined, he decides to just go with it. And he casts Camilla Rhodes, who is played by a different person at this point. It's played by Melissa George. But Camilla Rhodes is later played by Laura Harring, who played Rita. But once he goes with that, once he goes with Camilla Rhodes, once he goes with the stardom and the fame and the Hollywood stuff, everything's fine again.
Mhm.
He is in his old life. He still has money. His life is back. When before they took all his money, his wife was fucking someone else, and his life was just ruined. Which is very funny, that scene with his wife having sex with Billy Ray Cyrus, by the way. And then once we get to the second part of the movie, Camilla is Rita, and Betty is Diane. Basically, like we said before, Diane is Betty once she's been in Hollywood a while, and she has not gotten this role that she thought she was going to get because she was so good in her audition. So she has these fantasies of Camilla and getting her back, getting her stardom back, getting her fame back, which really she never had in the first place. It was just she was a grasp away from getting that. So, and then we won't get to the end just yet, but I think I've explained my theory very well.
Okay.
In that it's just Camilla Rhodes is not a person. It's an idea. It's something to aspire to.
Right.
That she never quite reaches. But anybody who is Camilla, anybody who's around Camilla, gets the stardom, gets the fame.
They do.
But she never gets it.
Right.
So that's what I think. I think that the movie is a very good depiction on Hollywood chewing you up and spitting you out. Hollywood not caring about what you want. It's just what the machine wants. And yeah, that's kind of what I feel the film is about at this point.
You mentioned that you had a theory about like the diner scene.
Yes.
And how that correlated.
Yes. So back to the beginning of the film. This scene, funny enough, when I first watched the film, scared the living shit out of me, which I assume scared most people when they watched this for the first time. The man behind the diner, fucking terrifying.
Even though it's not a man.
It's not. It was a woman. It's actually
it
the
is-
nun, the
it
woman
is.
who played the nun.
Yeah, it's actually a woman.
Yeah.
Which I find funny that they say it's a man.
Yes.
Because I feel like maybe it's because I knew ahead of time that it was a woman.
Yeah.
Or what, but I feel like when you see her, you know it's a woman.
Yes.
But that's just me.
So the reason why this plays into my theory is that the man is talking about being in the diner. He's talking about it being a dream.
Mhm.
A dream, aka going out to Hollywood and being a famous actress. And behind this dream is this horrifying darkness. And I think that represents that this dream can end very badly. There's a darkness there that could happen, that you may eventually have to face, even if it does happen to you.
Mhm.
And that also can go into something else, can go into Rita. So the reason her name is Rita in the beginning is because she notices a poster in the house for a movie starring Rita Hayworth.
Mhm.
And I did not know much about Rita Hayworth until I looked her up at the end of the movie. And Rita Hayworth, at the end of her life, got Alzheimer's disease.
Mhm.
And I think that plays a lot into the whole situation. Because Rita, she forgets who she is. She has amnesia. She doesn't remember anything. And also it goes to the whole thing where, like, you may be a star in Hollywood, you may have stardom, but eventually there's a darkness that comes along with that, whether it be from Hollywood itself or just life itself.
Mhm.
There's always darkness somewhere in life, especially if you're striving to do something like she's doing in Hollywood. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the movie at this point. With all those things, I think that they all kind of align for me in that aspect.
I think the more I've talked to her, the more I've come to like it.
Yes, that's good. I'm glad. I'm really glad because it almost it definitely hurt me for you to say I don't like Mulholland Drive, like flat out. Like you couldn't even pick anything that you liked from the movie.
No, there's stuff I like about it.
Yeah.
for sure.
Which
There's more stuff I like about it than I don't.
Yeah.
So.
But
But I stand firm by my theory that David Lynch's idea of love is really fucking weird.
well, explain to me why you think his idea of love is weird.
Because a lot of the relationships I've seen portrayed, not only in this movie, but a lot of his movies, I feel are not romantic. They're just not. A lot of people find Wild at Heart to be romantic, and I don't think it's romantic for a number of different reasons. But I hate the scene where they're being very tender with each other and stuff like that, and they're caressing each other in bed, and that's the sex scene that they have.
Yes, when they first fall in love, when Betty tells Rita she's in love with her.
And you heard me, as soon as she said, "I'm in love with you," I went, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Because I was just like, no, you're not.
But
again, if she does represent the idea of stardom,
she's
then
fallen in love with her.
That makes sense. But
Yes.
I'm saying, if you're portraying them just as two
People.
women,
Yeah.
then no, you
Yeah.
have no idea who this woman
Yeah.
is. You know what I mean? So I would like to go with your theory more than anything else because that's what makes the most sense to me, especially in that scene. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, you can't be in love with this woman. You don't know her.
It's very
you know
true.
What I mean?
And also, yeah, you don't know anything about her. She just kind of showed up.
She doesn't even know anything.
She
about
doesn't know
herself.
anything about herself.
So it's just like,
Yes.
and you know, and also I told you, I said I don't know her. Like, you know, of course I was just like, you take her to a hospital, but of course we're just not operating in reality here, so I have to put all that aside.
That's the thing that I tell Danny is like, you know, most of Lynch's films, 80-70% of them are in a different world. They're not. It's not supposed to be reality.
They're not rooted in logic.
No, so that you just got to go along with that.
It's just I would be very freaked out.
Yes.
By a woman who didn't know who she was, I'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And would I feel bad for her? Absolutely. But would I be like,
I'm gonna help you.
Let's go on this fucking weird ass detective adventure and try and find out who you are, even though like it gets uber dangerous and I could die. You know what I mean? Like that's when I'm like, I'm out.
Speaking of, in a past life, David was a fucking PI.
Yeah,
like he was a detective because he loves that shit.
I want to know if David Lynch watches Columbo.
Probably. I think David really loves noir.
Okay.
I think he loves those detectives, dark detective stories.
And I mean, during the 50s when he wrote that stuff was big.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand where he gets that.
You reminded me of something that I want to say. Another kind of thing in my theory. I think that Betty is here on one end of the spectrum, and Rita is here on this end of the spectrum at the start of the movie. And then as the movie goes, they come closer and closer and closer, and that when they both are blonde at a point in time, and I think that's the middle of the film, and then they switch.
And they separate again.
They separate again, and
they're opposites.
They're opposites again. Like, they're opposites in a good way at the beginning.
Well, you could say that they are very similar in the beginning because Naomi Watts also doesn't know who the fuck she is.
Yeah, she, Betty is very naive, and she's just like, I'm coming out to be a star, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same, but also opposite for Rita, where she just doesn't know who she is, and she's trying to find herself again, just like Betty is trying to find herself in this new city.
Yes, correct.
So they are very similar, but by the end of the film, they are very, very different.
They're very established in who they are, and very different.
Very different, yes. Yeah.
But although, I mean, if I would be pretty upset if me and a friend of mine, you know, who fooled around from time to time, got into a movie, and then that friend started fucking the director. I would be pretty upset. You know,
started fucking the director to become
I would be upset. Yes. I'd be like, okay, you treacherous bitch.
That is another thing. The scene in which the tits to machinery. It is on set. It is Rita / Camilla is in a car making out with Adam, the director, and
he's directing. You know, sort of. Like, there are other people on set, and Diane is also there.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Diane is there. She is dressed as she is in the film.
She's in the film.
She is just in a supporting role.
Yeah. She didn't get the leading role. Her friend...
who fucked her way to the top. Basically.
Diane got it. And
no, not Diane. Camilla.
Camilla, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. See? This is what happens.
I understand. It's very, your mind is...
Oh, yeah, because it's like they're kind of the same.
Yes.
In a weird way.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Another very funny tidbit, and I'm not quite sure how this came about because David doesn't particularly normally like to do things like this. But when the DVD first came out, this DVD behind me, it had a little sheet in there, and it had 10 clues to kind of figure out the film. And I think that was a marketing thing. This is David's besides Eraserhead, this is David's most esteemed, high-held film. The most commercially accepted film of his, I believe.
Well, what's funny about that little clue sheet that you showed me and let me read?
I showed Danny, like, I stopped the film about 30 minutes in, she's like, oh, just maybe this will help you. I don't know. It's just a fun little thing to kind of look at.
And it's funny because I read it, and as soon as I was done reading it, I turned to him and I went, this tells me nothing. Which I would expect
Yeah.
from David. It's like, I'm only going to give you so much, but even then I'm probably not going to give you anything at all.
I also wonder if they even really mean what they mean. I think David,
Maybe not.
he probably did it because they were like, David, you gotta do this. He was like, fine,
He's
fuck
like,
off,
fine.
I'll do it. And then he probably wrote some shit that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as much as like a marketing thing that is, I guess it's kind of good to put that in there for people that aren't used to his films.
I think they were just really worried that people weren't going to get it.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, David wants you, as we said before, he wants you to make up your own mind. I just thought that was interesting to throw out there. You can look it up online if you want to check it out. Just type in, you know, Mulholland Drive, 10 tips, 10 Easter eggs, or whatever, 10 clues. It's just an interesting little thing, because Lynch has never done that before. And I don't know if he's, like, taking the piss out of the people that read it, or if he actually really tried to help people along.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's very hard to say.
Yeah.
I feel we've worked kind of through the film.
We haven't gotten to the ending.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about.
You're going to talk about? Yes, okay.
So I wanted to talk about, since I talked about the beginning, and it circles around back.
Yes.
So, we've talked about how Camilla has shacked up with the director.
Yes.
And at one point, and I feel this is kind of sad, Diane is in a limo, and it mirrors the beginning where they stop, and she says, "What are we doing? We don't stop here." And the guy turns, and you think he's going to pull a gun, but he doesn't, and he says that it's a surprise. And then all of a sudden, Camilla comes out of the side of the woods on the road, and
which mirrors the beginning.
Yeah.
After the car crash, she walks down a hill
Mhm.
into Los Angeles,
Mhm.
and in this part of the film, she is now taking herself and Diane up the hill. Another little, you know.
And she's very flirty and seductive about it. Takes
Yes.
her up the hill to this party, right up onto a pool deck and stuff. To which Justin Theroux comes out
Yes.
with glasses of champagne, I imagine.
Yes.
And I just feel it's really cruel because she's being very nice to Diane and making it seem like they're back where they're at. And then
Yes.
as soon as they're at the party, she's back on. Diane is not Diane. Camilla is back on.
Yes.
The director.
It's how cruel stardom can be.
Yep. And
The deceptiveness of you think you are rising, you think you've caught something, and then nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're about to announce something, which we actually never get to see what they announce.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're either gonna get married or something to that end. It's along those lines of that kind of announcement.
I think that they are announcing a new film, a new
movie.
partnership,
Yeah, it's
some
very
sort of
possible.
thing like that.
But we don't get to see it because then all of a sudden it changes scenes, and Diane is now with
At Winky's,
Yeah.
the diner.
at Winky's with the assassin that we actually see earlier in the film.
Oh,
and
the assassin has one of the best scenes.
And one of the best scenes. I don't want to talk too. I mean, I
No,
really don't want to talk
it's
at all about it
yeah.
because it's just a scene to be experienced. Because as I was watching, I was just laughing my ass off. And
More David humor.
and it also shows David's very twisted sense of humor, but it's also
Yes.
very funny.
Yes.
But she's talking to a guy who is essentially a hitman, I believe,
Yes.
and gives him a picture of Camilla.
And money
Yeah, and
out of her black bag.
correct.
I also do want to just to point one thing out.
Mhm.
The waitress in the diner. Our earlier scene, her name is Diane.
Mhm.
Come back, her name's Betty.
So
Another little thing.
kind of switched.
Yeah.
And so she's obviously kind of put out a hit on Camilla, and what I was saying earlier was to Will was that's what the beginning is then.
Yeah.
Because what happens is she is about to get shot, but it doesn't happen
Yeah.
because there are these two cars that come screaming around the in Mulholland Drive, if you've never been there in California, it's very windy. It's a very windy road. And you can veer off of that road very easily. And there were these two cars that, of course, seemingly were fucking around playing chicken, whatever the fuck it is they're doing, hooping and hollering, and strikes their car and kills everyone except for Camilla / Rita. And that's what I believe happened was that she was gonna get killed because of the hit that Diane put on her, but it didn't happen.
Yes. And then we get to the end of the film. This is one thing I haven't completely figured out. In the beginning of the film, she has talked to these people in the airport or on the plane. This old couple, and they're very happy and they're smiley and they're happy about what they're doing. And then back at the end, they come out of
The box.
They come out of a paper bag that the box is in with the man behind the diner, who apparently has orchestrated many things.
I guess so.
At this point. And then they go to Diane's house and they fucking terrorize her until she kills herself.
Yes.
That's the end of the film. Well, besides Silencio, but that's the end of the film.
And the funny thing is that we actually see a body earlier in the film.
Yes.
That seemingly is Diane because she.
Well, truthfully, it looks like Rita. Black hair. I think it looks more like Rita than Diane.
It's very hard to say, especially after
it's been decaying.
Yeah, it's decomposition, so we don't know.
Yeah.
But she's in the same position, in the same bed, and all of that stuff. That they found the body in when they investigated an apartment earlier in the movie. Rita and Betty.
Yeah.
When they did that. So it's the end's very interesting.
It's a very, very
David
bleak tale about Hollywood.
Yeah.
And about experiences in Hollywood.
What would you rate it?
Rate it 10 out of 10 for sure. Yeah, I mean it's definitely this and Eraserhead are my two favorite Lynch films, and I think they're both perfect. It's funny, like I was saying, every different viewing I've got out of this. I've always loved Mulholland Drive, but I love it so much more now that I have my firm theory on everything that has happened in it.
Yeah.
So 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And you?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah! We don't have to end on a 3!
No. I feel bad that I gave Inland a 3, but I mean, Inland really just fucking took the piss out of me.
Yeah, and as did a lot of people. We've read some of your comments on the video.
Oh, do people not like Inland?
Yeah, a lot of people have problems with Inland Empire.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like it. They think it's one of David's worst films.
Well, I have to admit, maybe it's because of the clip I've seen of him talking about being so depressed that he doesn't know what he's doing while filming Inland Empire, and I don't feel it's aimless. I really don't. But I feel it meanders. I think that's the best word for it.
It can.
But I don't think it aimlessly wanders.
No, I think David, at a certain point, he understood what he wanted to do with Inland Empire.
But at first, I don't think he had any idea what he wanted to do.
I think Inland Empire displays his depression.
It does.
Very well. And I do think that Inland Empire and Mulholland Drive make a great double feature.
They do.
I think if you can spend 5 hours watching David,
if you have a day to kill, do that.
Watch them back to back. I think watch them as they were made. I think watch Mulholland Drive first, and then watch Inland Empire,
and then maybe Blue Velvet.
Maybe
because Blue Velvet also deals with some weird similar stuff too.
It does. I just don't. Blue Velvet is missing that movie industry theme that I think.
True, but there's still like this weird like underlying current of abuse.
Yes.
I mean, because she is.
If we're going for abuse, then yeah.
She's a lounge singer. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you still have the performance aspect of it. Mm-hmm. David likes that a lot.
He really does. So.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we got 8 and a 10. Yay! So I think this is a much better way to end our Lynch marathon. I am beyond happy that watching Mulholland Drive with me has made you like it more. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that sitting there watching with you made you like it more.
Well, talking to you about it helps.
Yes. I think that's the thing, though. That's the thing that I love about Lynch's films, and I love about surrealist films, is that they open up conversation. You come out of a movie theater, hopefully, when you see films like this, and you have a hour-long discussion about what you think happened, about what it means to you, the themes of the film. I think that's what I love about films like this. Not just specifically David's films, even though I think David does it very, very well. He's in the top 3 surrealist filmmakers, but just all in general. David Lynch, Jodorowsky, Gaspar Noé.
Who did Beyond the Black Rainbow?
Beyond the Black Rainbow. I can't think of his name right now. Oh,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. You're all these names that I can't think of. Panos Cosmatos, director of Beyond the Black Rainbow, and Mandy, another great surrealist filmmaker. I just love films that make you have a conversation. Narrative films can do that as well, but I think surrealist films open up that conversation a hell of a lot more.
Definitely. I definitely agree.
Yay, David Lynch! We have watched 6 David Lynch films at this point. I am as happy as I can be. I want to watch Eraserhead just personally together with you and I. But this is the end of our David Lynch marathon.
We promise.
Promise, we're not coming back for another one. Maybe we'll do a David Lynch film on the live stream. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Our live streams, we want them to be fun, but I also do like I like discussion during the live stream as well. We'll see. What do you guys think? If you want us to do like a surrealist film where we can discuss it for the live stream, let us know. But thank you guys for sticking with us for the Lynch Marathon and for these 30 episodes that we've done now.
Yeah, I know, right?
We've been going for over half a year at this point. So it's pretty awesome, and I'm excited to continue to go. I'm excited for whatever Danny has for me in store. Has in store for me with her. I know she wants to do a marathon of something.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah. So next episode is hers, and maybe the next few is hers because I've gotten 6 in a row. So we shall see. Anything that you would like to say?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
I'm glad I got through it.
Yeah. Are you glad we ended with this one?
Yes.
Okay. Great. So guys, yet again, please join us on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern for our live streams. This last live stream we did Dead Heat.
And it went well.
It went wonderfully.
Nothing bad happened.
Nothing. Dead Heat is a fantastic film. If you did not come to the live stream, please watch it yourself. It is a great buddy cop zombie movie. It's very cheesy, but it's awesome. So we are now doing our episodes on Tuesdays. We're trying out just a different day, see how it goes. Hopefully you guys are keeping up with that date. I'll be continuing to tell you on our social media about it. We are on Twitch. Our live streams will be on Twitch. I think we're going to start doing some other stuff on Twitch as well, just for fun.
Oh yeah, we have some stuff.
Some stuff planned. But just go to twitch.tv/WWYSMTpod and give us a follow there. Otherwise, thank you guys, and we'll see you next Monday or next Tuesday. Tuesday. See you next Tuesday.
Nice job.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.